I am learning that soccer is not just about teams winning. Some countries genuinely cannot stand each other, and the history runs deep. When certain nations meet at a World Cup, it feels less like a game and more like a battle decades in the making. I keep hearing about feuds and grudges and famous moments of revenge, but I have no idea where any of them come from. Which countries truly hate losing to each other? And what actually happened to make these rivalries burn so fiercely for so long? As a new fan, I want to understand the bad blood, the history, and the unforgettable games behind the biggest World Cup feuds. So walk me through them. What are the greatest, fiercest rivalries the World Cup has ever given us? And why do they matter? Oh, this is the good stuff. Rivalries are the beating heart of the World Cup, and the stories behind them are pure drama. I am going to count down the fiercest rivalries the tournament has ever seen and explain exactly why each one cuts so deep. We will cover political bad blood, brutal fouls, stolen trophies, and revenge served years later on the very biggest stage. By the end, you will understand why grown adults still argue about games that happened long before you or I were even born. But first, an honorable mention that might surprise you: the single fiercest rivalry in all of soccer, Brazil against Argentina. These two South American giants share a border and a burning hatred of losing to each other on any stage in any sport. It is the rivalry of Pelé against Maradona, of Brazil's yellow against Argentina's blue and white, passed down through generations of fans. Here is the strange twist, though. At the World Cup itself, these two have almost never met in a knockout game. Their paths keep landing on opposite sides of the bracket, so the dream final the whole sport craves has never happened. That is exactly what makes it so special. It is the great rivalry the World Cup is still desperately waiting to stage. One day, it will explode onto this stage, and it will be glorious, but for now, on to the rivalries that have. At number 7, a newer rivalry born from one brutal night: Spain against the Netherlands, two teams that came to dislike each other. It all started at the 2010 World Cup final, with Spain at the absolute peak of their beautiful, mesmerizing passing game. The Netherlands knew they could not match Spain for skill, so they chose a far more cynical and physical approach instead. What followed was one of the most bad-tempered finals ever, full of crunching tackles, flying boots, and a fistful of yellow cards. One Dutch player even launched a flying kick straight into a Spanish chest, a moment so wild it is still replayed today. Through all the chaos, Spain kept their composure and finally scored deep in extra time to win their first ever World Cup. The Dutch were left furious, convinced they had thrown away the trophy by abandoning the very style that made them great, but the story did not end there. 4 years later, the two were drawn together again in the group stage. This time, the Netherlands got their revenge in spectacular, brutal fashion, demolishing the defending champions 5-1. It was a stunning humiliation, one of the most shocking results in modern World Cup history. And sweet payback for 2010, a bitter final, and a brutal revenge, all in the space of 4 years. That is a rivalry born fast and burning hot. Spain against the Netherlands comes in at number 7. At number 6, a clash of two of the most successful nations ever: Brazil against Italy, a rivalry of pure footballing royalty. Between them, these two countries have won the World Cup an incredible 9 times, more than any other pair on this entire list. Their first great meeting came in the 1970 final, widely considered the greatest performance any team has ever produced. That Brazil side, with Pelé at his peak, simply dismantled Italy 4-1 in a display of breathtaking attacking beauty, but Italy got their revenge in 1982 when a striker named Paolo Rossi knocked a brilliant Brazil team out almost single-handedly. It was a gut punch for Brazil, losing a thrilling game 3-2, and it still hurts Brazilian fans to this very day. Then came the 1994 final here in the United States, the first World Cup final ever to be decided by a penalty shootout. After a tense, goalless battle, it all came down to nerve from 12 yards, with the trophy hanging on every single kick. Italy's biggest star, Roberto Baggio, stepped up needing to score and blasted the ball high over the bar in agonizing fashion. Brazil were champions, and that one miss from one of the greatest players alive defined the entire rivalry for a generation. Royalty against royalty, with beauty, heartbreak, and a shootout for the ages. Brazil and Italy land at number 6. At number 5, a rivalry defined by one man's genius and one man's madness. France against Italy, two stylish European giants. These neighbors have produced some of the tensest knockout games the tournament has seen, often decided by the very finest of margins. At the heart of it stands Zinedine Zidane, the most graceful midfielder of his era and a true icon for France. France knocked Italy out on penalties in 1998 on their way to winning the World Cup for the very first time, but the rivalry reached its unforgettable peak in the 2006 final, a match that had absolutely everything a fan could ever want. Zidane, playing the last game of his glittering career, scored early with a penalty of breathtaking cheek and confidence. Italy fought back to level the game, and the two heavyweights traded blows deep into extra time with the trophy on the line. Then came the moment nobody saw coming. An Italian defender whispered something and Zidane snapped in a single instant. He turned and headbutted the Italian square in the chest in front of the whole watching world and was sent off in disgrace. It was a shocking, human, unforgettable end to a legendary career, and it left France a man down for the shootout. Italy held their nerve from the spot and won the World Cup, their fourth. On a night of pure unscripted drama, genius and madness in a single final, France against Italy takes number 5. At number 4, two neighbors who truly cannot stand losing to each other, Germany against the Netherlands, soccer's most bitter border feud. The bad blood is wrapped up in history, geography, and the painful memory of the Second World War, giving every game a hard edge. Their defining moment came in the 1974 World Cup final, played in Germany, with the brilliant Dutch as slight favorites. The Netherlands, led by the genius Johan Cruyff, scored within 2 minutes before a German player had even touched the ball. It was the ultimate act of disrespect, and it lit a fire under the home team that the Dutch would come to regret. Germany fought back, won the final, and broke Dutch hearts, denying that beautiful side the trophy their football truly deserved. The Dutch never forgave them, and the rivalry only grew nastier over the following decades, boiling over again in 1990. In a fierce knockout game that year, frustrations exploded, and a Dutch player infamously spat in a German player's hair. Both men were sent off, and that ugly, spiteful image came to capture everything about this poisonous rivalry. It is a feud built on history, jealousy, and a stolen trophy that the Dutch believe should always have been theirs. Bitter neighbors who bring out the worst and the best in each other. Germany and the Netherlands sit at number 4. At number 3, the rivalry that haunts an entire nation, England against Germany, a feud of glory followed by decades of pain. For England fans, no opponent carries more history, more hope, and more crushing, repeated heartbreak than the Germans. It began gloriously in 1966 when England won their only World Cup, beating Germany in a dramatic final on home soil. One of England's goals that day remains fiercely disputed, with Germans insisting to this day that the ball never crossed the line. That single moment of controversy planted a seed of grievance that would grow for generations on both sides of the rivalry. From then on, Germany became England's tormentors, the team that always seemed to end their dreams when it mattered the most. The cruelest blow came in the 1990 semifinal, a tight game that England lost in a penalty shootout, their players in tears. It happened again and again over the years until the very word penalties became a national nightmare. For English fans, Germany got an emphatic revenge of their own in 2010, thrashing England 4-1 in the most one-sided game of the rivalry. And in a cruel twist, England had a clear goal wrongly disallowed that day, an eerie echo of the 1966 controversy reversed. Glory, controversy, and a lifetime of penalty heartbreak all wrapped into one fixture England can never quite seem to escape. England against Germany comes in at number 3, and at number 2, the rivalry that owns the biggest stage of all, Argentina against Germany, who have met in 3 World Cup finals. No two countries have faced each other in the championship match more often, making this the ultimate big game rivalry in history. Their first final came in 1986, when Diego Maradona's Argentina edged a thrilling contest to lift the trophy in Mexico. Germany were furious, certain they could turn the tables and they would get their chance just 4 short years later. The 1990 final was a tense, ugly rematch, with Argentina reduced to 9 men and a single penalty settling the entire game. Germany scored from the spot to win, and this time it was Maradona left in tears. The rivalry now perfectly even. The rubber match took 24 years to finally arrive, but it was well worth the wait. The 2014 final in Brazil, this time the great Lionel Messi carried Argentina dreaming of matching Maradona by winning the trophy for his country. For most of the night, the two giants could not be separated, and the final headed into a tense, exhausted extra time. Then a young German named Mario Götze produced a moment of pure brilliance, controlling and finishing a beautiful winning goal. Germany were champions again. Messi was left to stare heartbroken at the trophy, and the rivalry tilted Germany's way. 3 finals, 3 slivers of margin, and decades of shared heartbreak and glory. Argentina and Germany take number 2. And at number 1, the most charged, most dramatic rivalry the World Cup has ever produced, Argentina against England. This feud goes far beyond soccer, shadowed by a real and painful war. The two countries fought against each other in the early 1980s, so when they met at the 1986 World Cup, just 4 years after that conflict, the tension was almost unbearable, and it produced the single most famous afternoon in the entire history of the sport, courtesy of one man, Diego Maradona. In the space of just 4 minutes, Maradona scored the 2 most talked about goals the World Cup has ever seen. The first he punched into the net illegally with his hand, then cheekily claimed it was scored by the hand of God. England were furious at the blatant cheating, but they had no time to recover before what came next left them utterly stunned. Maradona collected the ball in his own half, then dribbled past half the England team to score the goal of the century. One goal pure cheating, the other pure genius side by side, capturing everything about this beautiful, bitter, unforgettable rivalry. The drama continued in 1998 when a young David Beckham was sent off for a petulant kick against Argentina. England fought bravely with 10 men but lost yet another World Cup game on penalties, and Beckham became a national villain overnight. 4 years later, England got a sliver of revenge, with Beckham himself scoring the winning penalty to knock Argentina out. War, cheating, genius, red cards, and revenge all poured into one single fixture. No rivalry has ever given the World Cup more. Argentina against England is, without question, the greatest rivalry this tournament has ever known. Our number 1, you came in seeing strangers in colored shirts. Now you see the history, the grudges, and the drama behind every great rivalry. Kneel to hero. From Brazil and Argentina's dream that has never happened to Maradona's afternoon of cheating and genius, you now know the feuds. These are the stories that turn a simple game into something people carry in their hearts for an entire lifetime. And in 2026, somewhere in the bracket, a new chapter in one of these rivalries could be written right before our eyes. So, when 2 old enemies walk out onto the field, you will now feel the weight of every single game that came before. Subscribe to Nil to Hero, where we turn total beginners into real fans, one story at a time. New video every week. Now tell me below, which World Cup rivalry do you most want to see explode in 2026?